So Donald Trump says Russia is fine with his peace plan. Is that true?
I haven't seen the peace plan. That is not true to presuppose that it is in the papers, in the newspapers, but I can't imagine several parts of it because it is understandable for us. So this is not about a simple ceasefire. It should be a comprehensive long-term solution for everything. It is not for only Ukraine. Security guarantees should be given to Russia as well. Security guarantees should be given to all European countries over here. It is an issue of NATO, of course, should be resolved once and forever. We should think about also how to reconstruction of Ukraine probably and the change of it. So it's a lot of papers and should be done, and a lot of commitments should be done in it. It needs a work of professionals, of course, to formulate it legally as documents.
I mean, you have always said you want a comprehensive plan, but Trump is clearly impatient and he wants some progress quickly. Now, there was a 28-point plan. I don't know whether you know what was in it. And then there was a new version that he talked about last week. What do you understand his plan to be?
Definitely, it should not be a deal. At the moment, we have to talk about surrender, because Kyiv should think not about the deal, but definitely the situation on the ground, situation in economics of Ukraine, situation in Europe where there is no more money, spare money for Ukraine. They put Kyiv in condition when they have to think how to save the state, not to be a failed state.
So you're saying it should be a surrender?
It should be definitely a certain surrender.
I mean, that is not the basis for peace talks, is it? Peace talks have to be about a deal and a compromise, not a surrender. Nobody wants to surrender.
No. The issue of talks, probably. I'm not sure about Europeans. They are talking about a deal. But a deal is a different thing. A deal when there is a certain balance of on the field, but there is no balance on the field.
You think you're winning?
There is a winning. We are in the winning situation, definitely, because the front line is moving very quickly. The advancement.
I mean, very quickly is a big claim, isn't it? It's actually moved very slowly. Over 4 years.
It is in your newspapers. But in fact, what is happening is that it is becoming quicker and quicker. During the autumn, we have liberated 87 settlements. At the moment, there is a cauldron in Mirnograd, where there are thousands of Ukrainian troops, elite troops, have been surrounded. We have a situation of cauldrons nearly formed in 3 or 4 areas along the front line. So this is an issue. We are moving towards Kramatorsk because Seversk is fallen down, nearly fallen down. Novopavlovka is nearly fallen down. Gulyai is very famous, I will say, on Ukrainian map in early 20s. It is nearly fallen. No, I wouldn't say it is fallen down, but it is now being attacked and surrendered, which nobody is expected to be. So this is moving quicker and quicker.
So Trump's talking nonsense then, if he says Russia's fine with a deal. I mean, you're sounding like you're nowhere near a deal.
Expectations, of course, to have it as quick as possible, and I wouldn't say that we are alien to this expectation because we would like to finish it by diplomatic efforts and also as quick as possible. But of course, it will be on our terms. Right.
Well, what are your terms?
Terms has been laid down by President a year ago, and we do not change our positions. It is well known, and simply do not repeat what has been said many times.
So, I mean, that's interesting, isn't it? You have been consistent in your message, and you're saying Russia's position has not changed,
exactly,
and will not change.
Will not change. No.
So you'll fight for as long as you need to.
Yes. Well, I can state absolutely clearly that we have laid out our position. In the very beginning of the conflict, then later on has repeated, and I don't see any deviation from what has been said.
I mean, is that why Russia seems to be stepping up what the British government regards increasingly as hybrid war in Europe?
British government, London, is very experienced in hybrid war. I can remember Zinoviev letter in early 20s when they have, first of all, invented this hybrid war. And there are repeated issues concerning that. So
but you accept it's going on.
Others are only learning from London how to do it.
So, right, but you're accepting then that there is a hybrid war, effectively, between Europe and Russia?
There is no definition, by the way. What is it? And
well, they say it's about flights, it's about boats, it's about the spy boats. off the
We
northern
can-
coast. It's about
we-
submarines.
We can say absolutely the same about European efforts, about British efforts.
I'm sure you can,
whether
but
it
you're
is-
accepting that it
is-
happens.
No, we happens that everybody is doing what it is in effort. So the hybrid war, which is waged against Russia, is very active. It is just we have given an official note about the issue of Aeroflot that has been attacked from the cyber company here in United Kingdom. This is an
Yes.
official note because we traced it.
So you think
We
you're
traced
also
it-
under cyber attack from Britain?
Absolutely.
Right, so
very
in
many
that
times.
case, you must accept that you're also doing it to us.
Differently from Brits, differently from London, because it doesn't give us any official grounds, any official basis for this. We have sent this note with absolutely tracing it, how it is happening.
Is this
And,
what you told the Foreign Secretary?
I didn't talk with the Foreign Secretary. I did talk with First Deputy of it. Yes, we have exactly talked about that as well.
So in that case, if you say Russia is under attack in a hybrid war in terms of surveillance and cyber, you're doing it to us as well, aren't you?
I do not know. Simply, this is not my cup of tea. I'm doing
Well,
here.
you're very sure of one side, but not sure of your
actually,
own side.
what I'm doing here is representing Russia, representing our public policy views, and I have now and in the other occasions just to lay it out what we are doing and how we are doing it.
But if you're
This is not
representing
about-
Russia, then you can also say what Russia is doing. You know, you're very keen to say what Britain is doing when you don't
What we are doing,
actually know the detail of that. I'm just asking you what's Russia doing.
Christian, we are talking about conflict in Ukraine. I just laid it out the situation on the ground in Ukraine. Ukraine has, and you ask me why. Because Ukraine has no more manpower, they have no more reserves. That's the main question, because, and it's
you
important
also have
because
that problem in Russia.
it is important. We have huge reserves and manpower. We are many times bigger than Ukraine.
Then why are you sending
And
African imported
Who
labour
told
to
you
the
that?
to the front?
This is nonsense. I haven't seen any substance reports about Africans
And North
being over
Koreans.
there. North Koreans, they volunteer to do this. They would like to get some experience. Now it looks like they are helping us in demining. They are helping us in certain reconstruction of the devastated towns, which has been already liberated. But their mission, as a combat mission in trying to liberation of a certain area occupied by Ukrainians is accomplished, and they return back.
I mean, the estimates are that up to 1 million people have been affected in
Forget
Russia,
about
either in terms of injuries or deaths.
I will give
that's
you-
an enormous cost, isn't it, for Russia?
Well, all these figures, they have been taken from the ceiling. But there is an official figure which has been agreed between Russia and Ukraine. We have had an exchange of bodies recently, in recent 3 months. So we have given and returned to Ukrainians 9,000 bodies. And we got in return 143. That is all. It is simply saying by itself.
Are you claiming that Russian deaths are in the hundreds?
Ciphers are simply saying themselves how it works.
Well, how many do you think there have been?
Yes, all the rest is absolutely nonsense. And I am not going to speculate on this. What are the losses of Ukrainian side? What are the losses of the
But
Russian
the Russian
side?
people know, don't they, that hundreds of thousands of families have been affected by this
Christian,
war.
probably you have another question.
No, of course. But I mean, it's interesting that you don't want to acknowledge.
Beyond this discussion, which makes no sense because there is no knowledge of it.
I'm asking you to acknowledge the impact on the Russian people of this war, a war you didn't even want to call a war for the last 4 years.
Well, it does. This is not a question about the name of what is happening. This is a conflict. What we are doing, we are trying to save people. We are trying to save Russian people, Russian-speaking people on these territories from oppression or suppression, from their human rights are important to us. And actually, you know that they have prohibited even the Orthodox Church over there, which is they are prohibiting to talk in Russian language, which is absolutely unthinkable.
Well, there's not a total ban on speaking Russian.
Oh, there is a ban, and banning the last decree by Verkhovная Rada, this is a parliament in Ukraine, that it will not be protected, that was the day before yesterday, that it will not be protected by the Council of Europe treaty about regional languages.
Now, you say this is not about a ceasefire and it's not about a deal. If Zelensky were to say, ceasefire and I'll call elections, He's saying he's prepared to hold elections.
Yesterday, for the first time.
Yes. I mean, is that something Russia would consider? Because you want him out, and you believe he would lose an election. So if there's an opportunity for an election, is that something Russia would consider having a ceasefire for?
There are very many questions about this statement, how serious it is. It is just first pronunciation about the necessity to hold elections, which has been done definitely under impressions of what Trump has said yesterday in his talking to the interviewer. What we can say is that under the current law of Ukraine and under current constitution, it is only Verkhovная Rada, the parliament, who can continue to exist under martial law. But presidential elections should have been happened a year and a half ago. So at the moment he is illegal. And we are not very eager to go into the agreement or a treaty with a person who is illegal, who is going to sign it. We can negotiate with him, but the person who is going to sign it should be absolutely legal and has the support of people in his country. Otherwise, the other one will come and say, well, this is nonsense, I didn't sign it.
Europe is also now talking about making rapid progress on seizing Russian assets and giving them effectively to Ukraine to use. Now, this has been, held in a freeze for years. They're now talking about actually using that money. How important is that in the negotiation?
First of all, I don't think that we will introduce this issue in the negotiations, because what Europe is suggesting, and it is only European Commission is suggesting, is absolutely illegal. And under domestic law, international law, whatever it is simply stealing money. Even during the Second World War, there is no use of money of Nazi Germany, which has been in the banks over there. But this will be a first example. Of course, it will bring consequences for those who if they will decide to do this, it will be very serious consequences.
What consequences?
Well, we have also assets in Russia, British assets, Belgian assets, others as well. What they are going to do is a step which will have very serious conflict, because the current leaders, they do not think about the future. They would like to win it today, to do something today, but they have absence of strategic perspective. They say, well, tomorrow will be away probably. It is this president, president of France, president of Germany. They think about how to handle it at the moment, but they have to think about a year after, and that will come. You believe me, this will come. We in Moscow, we are preparing an answer to this. If ever it is going to happen, then we are not disclose what we are going to do. But since the very beginning of the conflict, I think that the answer was being prepared in a preparation.
But isn't there more Russian cash in Britain than there is British cash in Russia? I mean, does Britain have anying much to fear from retaliation?
We do not reveal it, but I'm sure, because during dozens of years, we have had British investors, we have had Belgian investors, we have had French investors, German investors, and I'm sure that I do not think about anything in particular, but I can imagine how many efforts has been done during that time.
And you don't think that would be part of the peace negotiation?
I do not
to
know.
Get the money back?
I do not know. There are different ideas on American side how to make it. I simply, at the moment, I have no idea.
I mean, the answer, I suppose, when you talk about international law is, well, that's a bit rich, given you're breaking international law in Ukraine. They will say, you steal land, we'll steal your money.
We will sue them also in the courts in London, those people, and it will be very long time. You know how there are attempts to get some money from Abramovich. It is lasting now for 3 years with no result.
You'll see them in court?
We will see them in court, yes, definitely.
Can I talk about the other very interesting thing that's come out of America in the last few days, which is their national security strategy? It's quite extraordinary as a document. Your spokesman in Moscow, Mr. Peskov, welcomed it and said that there are aspects to this that are in line with Russia's. What is it you like about the Trump national
Well,
security document?
I read the document, in fact, yes. It is an interesting document because it differs very much from the previous such kind of strategies done by the previous administration. I will point out three things which are in particular positive for us. First, it is a refusal refusal of supremacy of the United States all over the world. Hegemony, as was always the main card of the previous administration. U.S. is hegemonic and should do everything about the world and everything. Now it is said no more. Probably Western Hemisphere. That is one thing. The other thing is that no more enlargement of NATO, which is important. It is now in the concept. That's right. And a third thing is that they stand not for confrontation with Russia, but for strategic stability, for establishment of strategic stability. On the other hand, of course, there is a lot about Magna, American Magna, about necessity to hold. Doctrine Monroe has been mentioned 4 times about Latin America and all of that stuff. Europe is on the last place instead of and Russia in the section of European section on it, which is also interesting, I will say.
Well, very interesting, obviously. I mean, he is now saying Europe is weak. Is that a Russian strategic success? Is that what you have achieved?
It is just a result of development, of liberal development in Europe. It is, I wouldn't say that we have contributed much because recently our relations with Europe deteriorated very strongly, and it is not only in the last 4 years, but much earlier, because Europe treated us as a minor, as some regional power, and this is a result of internal European development, which we have predicted, of course.
I mean, the thing that has caused a lot of anger in Europe is also his talk about civilizational erasure. Do you think he's right about that?
I have no comment on that. I have no comments
Why
on that.
not?
But no, well, this is an American view on the neighbors. But many things that has been pronounced by the Vice President Vance in Munich conference, and it is reflected in this strategy. And of course, Europe is not our partner at the moment at all. It is adversarial party, which describes itself. It is in the strategy of the United Kingdom. It is said that we have adversarial relations.
Do you think that Trump view of Europe and the threat to Europe from immigration is in line with Russia's nationalism at home?
No, we don't have. Well, yes, of course, there are some nationalism over there. I mean, in Russia, in some corners of it. It is. I wouldn't say which one, but well, nationalism is a very. I would say it is a bad thing. It is nationalism, definitely. I have seen as well here in London, not in London, but in one of the cities nearby, some defenders of white movement, which has been standing in front of the church. So nationalism exists over the world, but it is not my estimation that migration is threatening to United Kingdom, to France, to Germany.
You don't think it is?
It is the current the estimation here by the politicians. What I'm seeing, they are better about internal life, not me, of course. One thing more, the issue of migration in our country, in Russia, is now treated also very seriously because we did have sort of unlimited migration mainly from the Central Asia, who has come to work in Russia and then providing income and money to their own country where there is no job, no work, no jobs. And we have taken a new strategy to that, which is limiting migration, which does not give a very favorable conditions for movement of forces. So they should register, they should learn Russian language, they should be civilized, they should be part of society, not forming the walls of their own on our part of Russia. So we take it very seriously. But we are discussing our own migration. We do not discuss much what is happening in Europe.
No, but what people wonder is if the Trump foreign policy were to work, he says he wants to encourage nationalist parties in Europe. That is a world, that is a Europe Russia would like, isn't it?
I don't think that we have any point of view about that. We are more or less friendly with those movements in Europe who do not consider Russia as an enemy.
And they tend to be the
who
nationalists.
do not expect, well, whatever color they are, doesn't matter it is. So you have here in Britain at least 3 or 4 communist parties. They are very friendly to us, I will say. We talk to them as well, of course, as we talk to the others who are friendly. But we do not, we cannot have similar relationship with others who say that Russia is a main threat to us, which is absolutely has no substance at all.
But I mean, you say you like the fact that America is no longer talking about American hegemony.
Right.
Isn't this a different kind of hegemony? It is trying to mold Europe in the same way as the MAGA movement in America. You know, it is Trump spreading his wings around the world.
I will say it is just a realization of facts that America has no dominance all over the world, and this is good, as I have said, because this concept of domination of United States in the world, it just led United States and others to the impasse, and this is also one of the origin of the conflict that we have in Ukraine as well.
Do you believe it as a strategy? I mean, when Trump publishes a document like that, do you take it on face value?
As far as all my experience for a long time, I know that American diplomats take this type of guidances very seriously, and they're following them also very seriously in the negotiations in international forums and in provision of and in providing diplomacy all over the world. It is a guidelines for American diplomacy and politics around the world.
And do you see Trump, I mean, I think over the last year we've talked before about how Trump is coming round to Russia's way of thinking on many issues. Do you see this as a further step towards your worldview?
No, I don't think. No, it is coming from his conviction, which he has already unveiled during his pre-election campaign. He said, and now it is on paper. It is. So why not?
But do you think it's in line with Russia's worldview? Is there more agreement between you now?
We have much more complicated view on the world. It is not just to please Americans or to please the current government. We have our own strategy. It is laid down. We have a concept of foreign policy. It is laid out, I guess, a year ago or a year and a half, something like that. It is not in line. It is just some indications, some points that I have singled out. These points are in line, yes, about necessity of strategic stability, about stopping enlargement of NATO because it is detrimental to our security, absolutely, and it is about multipolarity in the world. Multipolar world this is what most important, which is now United States is recognizing.
When President Putin said, "We don't want war with Europe, but we're ready for war," what did that mean?
President Putin has said many times that we do not want and we have no plans, no intentions and no reason to have war with Europe and with NATO. That is absolutely clear. But the situation is that here in Europe, the leaders, those who are speaking about the war in 2 years, they simply do not hear it. They do not listen to what President is saying. That is why he said this thing, that we are ready, and that is absolutely true. That we can do it now. We do not want to delay. We are not. We are prepared to anything. We have a strong army. We have very strong and modernized forces on all sides. So, but we still do not understand why European leaders, especially defense ministers, generals, brigades, they are speaking about the war. We have a conflict in Ukraine. When we have resolve this issue, which is serious for our security, which is vital for our security, and then we need coming back to our initial conversation, we need a comprehensive peace agreement.
But do you understand why people don't believe Putin? Because so many things he said over the years turned out not to be true.
The issue of believe or not believe,
well, it's quite important.
Of black and white, it has nothing about it. It is an American concept. I don't believe you.
Well, he's a man who said he wasn't going to annex Crimea, and he annexed Crimea. He said he wasn't going to invade Ukraine. He invades Ukraine. So trust is a huge problem when it comes to believing what President Putin says.
Do you believe your own politicians? When they're saying that we have...
So you're agreeing with me?
I agree.
You can't believe what a politician
says. Do you
says?
believe your Minister of Finance who has said there was a gap, enormous gap in the budget, and turned out to be no gap in the budget?
So you don't believe Putin either?
I don't believe to your politician either. So the question of belief or non-belief should be resolved in negotiations.
But belief is fundamental to a negotiation, isn't it? Because you have to believe and trust that the person who is sitting across the table from you means it and will stick to what they're saying.
Okay. In 1975, when we were close to concluding Helsinki Decalogue or Helsinki Act, which has a tremendous importance for the European security, no one believed to anybody at this stage. We didn't believe Americans for very, very many years. Americans didn't believe to us on us. We didn't believe Europeans, and so what? We have come to an agreement because we have a joint project, very serious joint project, how to settle security in Europe and all over the world. And we have done this. And from this, trust has started to evolve. And then we have come to much more agreements in Paris. We have come to strategic weapon limitation agreements. Most fundamental was ABM agreement, anti-ballistic missile agreement, was that cornerstone of strategic stability in a climate of total unbelief to each other.
And what that suggests is that each side will regard security and strength as fundamental to underpinning any kind of future agreement. So we are looking at escalation, aren't we?
No.
An arms race.
Why? It depends, of course. It depends. If someone would like to escalate, we are ready. If we can settle and de-escalate, we are ready to. De-escalation is now high in the agenda, not escalation. And one should speak not about terms of remilitarization, but in terms of de-escalation of current tension, which is important, about re-establishment of strategic stability, which is absolutely vital now for Europeans and for the Americans, because we are coming, that strategic limitation treaty is coming to an end of February. This is vital, of course, as well. We have to think about curbing arms race, not increasing arms race. That's most important. And we have to talk about how to finish up the issue in the Ukrainian conflict.
Just finally, how much economic pressure do you think both sides are under? We know that Ukraine has a problem paying its bills, but Russia also is facing a much lower oil price underpinning your economy. You're facing inflation at a much higher level, lower growth. Isn't that a pressure on you to advance the cause of peace?
This year we have had a lower growth because previous years we have had, previous 2 or 3 years we have had more than 4%, and it is absolutely normal that we have a lower growth. Yes, we do have inflation, which is about 8%, I guess, something like that, but Britain has 8% inflation 2 years ago. Well, you have done it by 4, we are trying to bring it also by 4. I wouldn't say that we feel economically serious pressure, because we did have several conferences right now, including business people, bank people, governmental people. Nobody complained so far.
And thanks to India and China, I suppose.
Not only we are trading with 85% of the world, which is non-Western countries. It's a majority of the world.
Ambassador, thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.